This is the rifle the Royal Marines chose for close quarters maritime interdiction, the SIG MCX, brought in under a separate program, Project A, to replace the L119 in specialist counter-terrorism roles. But further into the same film, a different rifle appears, and to understand why it's there, you need to know what it beats. Britain spent 2 years testing rifles from Heckler & Koch, Sig Sauer, Daniel Defence, Glock and Knights Armament, including the HK416, the rifle that's become standard issue for special operation units right across NATO. By the time the testing was over, the HK416 had lost. The rifle that beat it wasn't German and it wasn't British. Until 2023, most soldiers had never heard of it. It's the L403A1, built around the American KS1 platform, and it's the weapon this episode is actually about. It's the result of Project Hunter, a single competition that ran across both the Army's Ranger Regiment and the Royal Marines Commando units involved in the trial, and ended the same way for both. Knights Armament's KS1 over Heckler & Koch's HK416A5. The requirement that became Project Hunter was released in August 2021, the same year the Ranger Regiment itself was being stood up under the Future Soldier reforms, and the Royal Marines Commandos were leaning further into working alongside Allied Special Operation Forces. Both organisations wanted a rifle built from the ground up for suppressors, optics and night vision equipment, something the SA-80, 40 years into its service life, was never designed around. Hunter called for an armour-light rifle platform, an alternative individual weapon to sit alongside, not replace, the SA-80 family for the units involved in the trial. At least 5 rifles entered the competition. The exact field is disputed. The MOD never published a definitive list, and reporting varies between Jane's account of Knight's KS1 and the HK416, Daniel Defence's Mark 18, Glock's GR115 and SIG's MCX Virtus, and other outlets account naming the HK416A5, SIG's Spear LT, Daniel Defence's M4 and Glock's GR115F. Colt Canada, Lantac, Hennel and Steyr are also believed to have submitted at some stage. What's consistent across every version? Britain tested a wide field over 2 years, across multiple climates including cold weather trials in Norway, and chose one rifle. In September 2023, the Ministry of Defence announced its answer. Knights Armament's KS1, procured under Edgar Brothers of Macclesfield, under a contract worth up to £90 million for as many as 10,000 rifles, delivered through 2033, an initial order of 1,620 rifles worth £15 million followed almost immediately, with first deliveries to the Ranger Regiment before the end of that year. Designated the L403A1, the rifle didn't arrive alone. Project Hunter procured a complete alternative individual weapon system, the rifle itself, a signature reduction system, and an optical sighting suite, not just the firearm. One detail became a small legend after the contract award. Britain never asked for a bayonet lug. Knights Armament added one anyway. The company has said it was developed in anticipation of a possible need, not because the contract demanded it. Whether that was a shrewd read of British Army sentiment or just careful hedging, it stayed on the rifle. The KS1 is Knights Armament's newest evolution of the SR16 family, the first entry in what the company calls the KS or Knight Stoner carbine series, unveiled at military small arms conventions in 2022. It was built around 3 assumptions: that it would spend its service life suppressed, that it would be fought with night vision, not just carried with it, and that it would be covered in accessories from day one. Every part of the specification traces back to one of those 3 things. Suppressed use is why the barrel matters. The variant Britain selected runs 13.7 inches, cold hammer forged, chrome lined, dimpled to cut weight, with a 1 in 7 twist for 5.56 NATO, and it's why the gas system matters more than the barrel length. Where the HK416 it beat runs a short straight gas piston, the KS1 stays with direct gas impingement. Knight's own improved Mod 2 system, engineered to cycle reliably, suppressed or unsuppressed without the shooter touching a regulator. Direct impingement has a reputation for running dirtier under suppression than piston systems. Mod 2 is Knight's answer to that specific complaint, not a step backwards from the HK416's design. Fighting under night vision means manipulating the rifle largely by feel, without breaking a sight picture to look down at a switch. That's why the controls are built the way they are, fully ambidextrous, so either hand can reach every control without repositioning. That's why the handguard is the full-length free-floating URI X6 with M-lock slots and a top rail, one continuous surface defined by touch, and it's why the furniture is Magpul throughout, a PMag magazine and, on most photograph examples, a B5 Systems adjustable stock, chosen for the same reason, designed to be manipulated largely by feel in the dark under a night sight. And being covered in accessories is why the rest of the package exists at all. The L403A1 carries the L900A1 optic suite, a Vortex 1:10 power, low power variable optic on a Reptilia AUS mount, paired with an Aimpoint Acro P2 red dot on a Reptilia ROF 90 offset mount, magnified precision and a fast, always-on backup sight without swapping optics. Ahead of that sits the signature reduction system, Knight's QDC MCQ PRT suppressor, a 3D printed iconal design meant to cut muzzle flash and blast signature without the reliability penalty suppressors usually extract.
We have the suppressor, so it's a flow-through design, meaning that all the gas is pushed out the front and there's no blowback towards the firer.
What's actually remarkable here isn't that the KS1 won, it's that the HK416 lost. The HK416 is one of the most widely adopted rifles in modern special operations use, in French, Norwegian and US Marine Corps service, among others, and the rifle Germany's own KSK Special Forces carry. That's exactly what makes Hunter's result unusual. Britain wasn't choosing between an established rifle and an unknown one in the abstract. It was choosing to walk away from a platform already trusted by most of its own allies, in favour of a company most of the British public had never heard of. Britain's reasoning was never published as a scored breakdown. MOD small arms trials rarely are, but the public statements around the decision points to three things. First, interoperability. As an AR platform rifle, the KS1 shares its manual of arms, magazines and general handling logic with the weapons already carried by many of Britain's closest allies. For a force built specifically to operate alongside American and other Five Eyes special operation units, that commonality isn't a nice to have, it's operationally load bearing. Second, the complete system, not just the rifle. Lieutenant Colonel Gareth Davis, involved in delivering the program, described the L403A1 as offering a marked increase in lethality, built around what he called one of the most capable day sights currently available, before the system is even paired with next generation night optics. The suppressor and optics suite were evaluated as one package, not bolted on afterwards. Third, the direct gas impingement system itself was framed as a deliberate choice, not a compromise against piston designs like the HK416. Knight's Mod 2 system was specifically engineered to solve the traditional AR platform's suppressed fire reliability problems, the exact failure mode most likely to matter to the units carrying it. Viewed in isolation, Project Hunter was a competition for fewer than 2,000 rifles for two relatively small units. Viewed another way, it was Britain's first live experiment with what life after the SA-80 actually looks like. And James reported directly that the lessons learned from Hunter are now feeding to Project Grayburn, the much larger program to replace the SA-80 family across the British Army, covering something in the region of 170,000 rifles. Look at what's actually been put forward for that much bigger competition. The HK416 and the HK433 from Heckler & Koch, the MCX from Sig Sauer, the same platform already in Royal Marines service under Project Hay, and the NART from Beretta Defence Technologies. Externally an AR-15, but internally reworked around a short-stroke gas piston, alongside the Seiko ARG, itself built on an AR-15 pattern lower. Every series contender for Grayburn is a conventional AR pattern rifle. None of them are bullpups. That's the same conclusion Hunter already reached, showing up a second time at much greater scale. Britain has already started changing its weapon handling drills to reflect it. SA-80 specific stoppage drills was dropped from training in September 2025 and replaced with the same tap rat bang procedure used on conventional rifles. That doesn't mean Grayburn has already been decided, but it does show where the British small arms thinking is heading. The KS1 will only ever equip a few thousand Rangers and Commandos, but if Project Grayburn reaches the same conclusion Hunter already did, the L403A1 may end up remembered for something bigger than being Britain's newest rifle, as the weapon that quietly marked the beginning of the end for the SA-80. There's a smaller question sitting underneath that one though. The L403A1 was brought in to sit alongside the L119. and the L119 is now being squeezed from two directions at once. SIG's MCX taking its specialist counter-terrorism role under Project Hay, and Grayburn now asking whether the whole army should move to an AR pattern rifle. What happens to the L119 from here is next.